Picture this. It's 1953, and audiences wearing red and blue glasses scream in terror as a flaming meteor rockets toward their faces. But the real shock wasn't the special effects, it was the message hidden inside. A science fiction film that dared to suggest aliens weren't the enemy. We were. This movie changed everything Hollywood thought it knew about monsters. And today, we're uncovering 20 shocking secrets about the film that you didn't know. Number 1. The line that defined the film.
We don't want to hurt you.
We don't want to hurt you. In the middle of the Cold War, when every movie monster was a metaphor for communist invasion, one alien said something no one expected. Think about that. Every other creature feature from the 1950s had monsters attacking, destroying, and terrorizing. But this film flipped the script completely. The aliens weren't invaders. They were stranded travelers trying to repair their ship and leave Earth peacefully. The real monsters? The paranoid humans hunting them down. This single line of dialogue rewrote the rulebook for science fiction cinema and planted the seeds for every peaceful alien encounter that followed, from E.T. to Arrival. But here's where it gets interesting. That progressive message almost never made it to screen. Number 2. Based on an unused Ray Bradbury story. Most people assume this came from a Bradbury novel. Wrong. It started as The Meteor, an unpublished short story gathering dust in Ray Bradbury's files. Universal Pictures approached him in 1952, desperate for original science fiction content to compete with the monster movie boom. Bradbury didn't just sell them the rights, he completely rewrote the story specifically for the screen, expanding it into a full treatment that became the shooting script. This wasn't an adaptation. It was a direct collaboration between one of science fiction's greatest authors and Hollywood. Number 3. The alien's face was hidden on purpose. You know what's terrifying? Not the rubber monster suit. It's what you can't see. Throughout the entire film, you barely glimpse the alien creature's true form, maybe a shadowy outline, glowing eyes, a suggestion of something otherworldly. Early audiences assumed this was censorship or a limited budget. The truth is far more calculated. The studio realized during test screenings that every time they showed the full creature design, the fear evaporated. But keep it mysterious. Show only fragments. Let imagination fill the gaps. Pure terror. This technique became the gold standard. Spielberg used it in Jaws. Ridley Scott used it in Alien. All because this 1953 film proved that the unknown beats the known every single time. And wait until you hear about the technology that made it all possible. Number 4. It was Universal's first 3D science fiction film. 1953 was the dawn of Hollywood's first 3D revolution. Studios were panicking about television stealing audiences, so they threw every gimmick at the screen. Universal bet big on It Came from Outer Space as their 3D science fiction flagship. Audiences paid extra for special polarized glasses, and they got their money's worth. Meteors hurled toward their faces. Alien tentacles reached into the theater. The camera pushed deep into glowing desert landscapes. The gimmick worked. It became one of the year's highest-grossing films. But here's the fascinating part. Unlike other 3D cash grabs, this film actually used the technology to enhance storytelling. The depth made the vast Arizona desert feel alien and isolating. It wasn't just a trick. It was immersive cinema. And that opening sequence? It traumatized an entire generation. Number 5. Audiences screamed during the opening meteor crash. Imagine you're in a dark theater in 1953. You've never experienced anything like modern special effects. The screen goes black. Then suddenly, a massive flaming meteor crashes through space, growing larger, hurtling directly at your face through those 3D glasses. People screamed, some ducked. A few ran from the theater. This was one of cinema's first true jump scares, and it was completely unprecedented. There was no cultural vocabulary for this kind of visceral terror yet. No one had trained audiences how to handle it. Theater owners reported genuine panic during early screenings. Universal quickly added warnings to marketing materials, which of course only made more people want to see it. But the man directing all this chaos? He didn't even like science fiction. Number 6. Directed by a Western filmmaker who hated sci-fi. Jack Arnold was a Westerns guy. When Universal assigned him to direct a science fiction film about aliens and space travel, he openly admitted he thought the genre was ridiculous pulp nonsense. But studio contracts were studio contracts, so he showed up to work. Then something unexpected happened. He read Bradbury's script. He saw the philosophical depth, the human drama, the visual possibilities of the desert setting which reminded him of his westerns. Suddenly, this wasn't about rubber monsters, it was about fear, paranoia, and redemption. Arnold didn't just direct the film, he transformed his career. He went on to become one of the defining voices of 1950s science fiction, directing Creature from the Black Lagoon, Tarantula, and The Incredible Shrinking Man. Number 7. Shot in the Arizona desert, not on a set. Most 1950s science fiction happened on sound stages with painted backdrops. Not this one. Jack Arnold took his crew into the actual Mojave Desert near Arizona, filming in scorching heat with real sand, real rocks, real endless horizons. They hired locals from nearby towns as extras, giving the film an authentic documentary feeling that studio productions could never match. That eerie isolation you feel watching it? That's genuine desert emptiness. The way the landscape swallows the characters? That's real geography, not movie magic. This grounded approach made the alien elements feel more unsettling by contrast, because everything else looked completely ordinary. It was bold, uncomfortable, and expensive. But it gave the film a realism that elevated it above typical B-movie fare. Number 8. The studio wanted the aliens to be evil. Here's where Ray Bradbury nearly walked away from the project. Universal's executives watched early script drafts and panicked. Peaceful aliens? This wasn't what audiences wanted. They demanded rewrites. Make the creatures evil invaders. Add more violence. Give us clear villains. Bradbury said no. His contract gave him creative control over the story, and he used it. The aliens are explorers, he insisted. Scientists, they crashed here by accident. The villains are the humans who can't see past their own fear. He threatened to pull his name from the project entirely if they changed his vision. Universal, desperate to keep Bradbury's credibility attached, backed down. It was a rare victory for artistic integrity in 1950s Hollywood. And that integrity paid off in ways nobody expected, including predicting one of horror's most famous concepts. Number 9. The aliens could imitate humans. Watch closely, and you'll spot something revolutionary. The aliens in this film can assume human form, walking among us undetected, identical to the people they copy. Sound familiar? John Carpenter's The Thing gets all the credit for body-snatching paranoia, but it came from outer space did it first 29 years earlier. The film shows possessed townspeople with dead eyes, moving with alien precision, and nobody knows who's real anymore. That existential terror of not trusting your neighbors, your friends, your own eyes? This film pioneered it in 1953, at the height of McCarthy-era paranoia about hidden enemies. The metaphor wasn't subtle, and neither was the film's groundbreaking sound design. Number 10. The theremin soundtrack was a first for Universal. You know that eerie, wavering, otherworldly sound that instantly signals aliens in classic science fiction? That's a theremin, an electronic instrument you play without touching, moving your hands through electromagnetic fields. The Day the Earth Stood Still popularized it in 1951. Star Trek made it iconic. But It Came from Outer Space was Universal Pictures' first film to embrace theremin music as the primary sonic signature. Composer Irving Gertz filled the soundtrack with haunting electronic textures that made the desert feel extraterrestrial. Every time the aliens appeared, that unsettling whine filled theaters, burrowing into audience subconscious. It was revolutionary sound design that became the template for decades of science fiction scores. Number 11. The cave was made of cardboard and mirrors. Those glowing alien tunnels inside the crashed spaceship looked genuinely otherworldly. Pulsing walls, infinite depths, strange geometries that shouldn't exist. The secret? Cardboard painted with fluorescent ink, mirrors arranged to create false perspectives, and clever lighting. That's it. The special effects team created an entire alien environment for about $300 in materials. They positioned mirrors to reflect the cardboard surfaces infinitely, making tiny sets look vast. The fluorescent paint glowed under ultraviolet lights, giving everything an unnatural bioluminescent quality. It was ingenious low-budget movie making that looked like it cost 10 times more. And the production was full of similar creative accidents, including the film's most memorable visual effect. Number 12. There are two completely different endings. Here's something most viewers don't know. Ray Bradbury wrote two completely separate endings to the script. In one version, The aliens peacefully repair their ship and depart, proving they meant no harm. In the other, darker ending, their true hostile nature is revealed, and humans must destroy them. Universal couldn't decide which version tested better, so they did something unprecedented. They secretly filmed both endings completely, with different dialogue, different blocking, different emotional tones. They showed both versions to test audiences in different cities and measured the reactions. The peaceful ending won, but only barely. Some international releases actually used the darker ending because foreign distributors thought their audiences wanted traditional monster movie violence. If you've only seen it on television, you might have seen either version. The ambiguity was baked into the film's DNA, and so was the creature design chaos. Number 13. The alien design was changed at the last minute. The original alien creature looked like a massive praying mantis, insect-like, multi-limbed, with compound eyes and clicking mandibles. The design team spent weeks building the elaborate puppet. Then, 3 days before filming, Universal executives saw it and panicked. Too complicated, too expensive to operate, too weird. They demanded something simpler that could be shot quickly with minimal puppetry. The crew scrambled, creating the vague, tentacled, barely glimpsed creature we see in the final film. Only one photograph of the original insect design survives, tucked away in Universal's archives. Some film historians believe the last-minute change actually improved the movie. That elaborate monster would have undercut the fear of the unknown approach. Number 14. The heat ray effect was pure accident. You know that shimmering, wavering distortion effect when the alien presence manifests? That signature heat wave visual that suggests something powerful and invisible? It wasn't planned. During shooting in the desert, the crew used massive heat lamps to supplement sunlight for consistent exposure. The extreme temperatures literally warped the air between the camera and subjects, creating visible distortion waves on film. The cinematographer noticed it, showed Jack Arnold, and Arnold immediately recognized its potential. That accidental effect became the visual signature of the alien presence, cheaper than animation, more realistic than optical effects, and completely unique. They deliberately positioned heat lamps to recreate the distortion in subsequent shots. A production mistake became the film's most copied visual technique. Number 15. It inspired Steven Spielberg's Close Encounters. Steven Spielberg has stated in multiple interviews that It Came from Outer Space fundamentally shaped his understanding of science fiction cinema. He saw it as a child in the 1950s and absorbed its central lesson. Aliens don't have to be evil. They can be mysterious, benevolent, misunderstood. That philosophy directly influenced Close Encounters of the Third Kind 24 years later. Peaceful alien contact, humans as the aggressive ones, communication instead of warfare. Spielberg even recreated the film's desert setting and sense of awe in his own work. E.T. continues that tradition of sympathetic aliens. So does Arrival, District 9, and countless other films. The entire subgenre of peaceful alien contact films traces back to this one 1953 movie and Ray Bradbury's stubborn refusal to make his aliens villains. Number 16. It Was a Quiet Protest. Release date, June 1953. The height of McCarthyism. America was consumed by paranoia about hidden communist agents, loyalty oaths, blacklists, and neighbor informing on neighbor. Into that toxic environment came a film about aliens who looked like humans, hiding among us, and the story's heroes were the ones who refused to hunt them down. The subtext wasn't subtle to anyone paying attention. The mob violence, the demands to expose the outsiders, the refusal to communicate or understand. This was Bradbury's commentary on his own era, wrapped in science fiction to avoid direct censorship. He couldn't criticize McCarthy directly, but he could show the horror of paranoid mob mentality through allegory. And amazingly, it worked. The film became a hit while delivering a progressive, anti-xenophobia message to millions. Even the title was controversial. Number 17. The title almost killed the project. Universal's marketing department absolutely hated the title It Came from Outer Space. They thought it sounded too pulpy, too B-movie, too ridiculous for a film they were spending serious money on. They wanted something prestigious like The Visitors from Beyond or The Meteor. Ray Bradbury fought back hard. That title is exactly why people will buy tickets, he argued. It's bold, it's provocative, it promises exactly what it delivers, pure science fiction adventure. He was completely right. That title became iconic, endlessly parodied and homaged in everything from The Simpsons to Saturday morning cartoons. It defined the era's aesthetic. Sometimes the most obvious choice is the correct one, even when executives can't see it. Number 18. The male lead was chosen for his voice. Richard Carlson was not a typical leading man. He wasn't particularly handsome by Hollywood standards. He wasn't physically imposing. But he had something Universal desperately needed: an intelligent, calm, authoritative voice that sounded like a real scientist. The studio wanted a thinking man hero instead of a square-jawed action star. Someone audiences would believe as an astronomer, an intellectual, someone who solves problems with reason instead of fists. Carlson's casting signaled that this film would be different from typical monster movies. His measured, thoughtful performance grounded all the wild science fiction elements in human reality. He made the fantastic feel possible. Number 19. Its final line became a pop culture meme. Keep watching the skies. The film ends with those 4 words, delivered as both warning and invitation. Within months, that phrase was everywhere. Radio programs used it. Comic books quoted it. It became shorthand for science fiction paranoia and wonder. The X-Files would echo it decades later. Conspiracy culture adopted it. It entered the cultural vocabulary as the ultimate science fiction catchphrase. 4 simple words that captured the entire spirit of 1950s science fiction. The mixture of fear and fascination with what might be out there, watching us. And ultimately, those 4 words represented the film's greatest achievement. Number 20. It made sci-fi respectable in Hollywood. Before it came from outer space, science fiction was considered disposable entertainment for children and lowbrow audiences. Cheap special effects, rubber monsters, no artistic merit. Studios cranked them out quickly and forgot them. This film changed that perception. Ray Bradbury's literary credibility combined with Jack Arnold's serious direction proved science fiction could be philosophical, poetic, and profitable all at once. Critics who normally dismiss the genre wrote respectful reviews. The film made real money. Suddenly, science fiction was a legitimate investment, which opened the door for The Day the Earth Stood Still's sequel, Forbidden Planet, and the entire golden age of thoughtful science fiction cinema. One film proved an entire genre could be art, and it all started with a meteor crash in the desert and a simple message: maybe the monsters are us. 20 facts that reveal a film decades ahead of its time, teaching Hollywood that science fiction could make you think, not just scream. If you love movie history that changed cinema, smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into forgotten classics.